And we are joined by Gauteng Education Spokesperson Steve Mabona. A very good evening to you, Steve. Thank you so much for speaking to us now. The MEC earlier saying that children who'd applied on time through the online system, registration had been placed at schools, saying all of them. But I'm asking, how do you account for the discrepancy of parents who are saying they applied on time, but they've still not received some sort of pending statement or even being given temporary placement? They're saying there's been absolutely no acknowledgement of their online registration.
No, thanks very much. Look, we have placed everyone. We can assure you that we have placed everyone. The issue that we have, it's spaces that parents did not want to accept because of different reasons. Some will say we gave them a school that is very far from where they reside. Some will say they don't want that school because probably there's no teaching and learning there. Or some, they will say, you know, that's not a school that they can take their children to. So our issue here is capacity. And we've been saying throughout that we don't have enough capacity in the schools that everyone wants. I mean, a school that has a capacity of 200 or 300, and you have over 1,500 or even 2,000 applications. Definitely, there are parents that will want to appeal. There are those parents that will say, we also want to be preferred. But you must also remember that this is the first time where we then introduce the new admission regulations as per the Constitutional Court directive to say the HOD is the only person that must be responsible to place learners.
Now,
so
in line with that, last year you made a commitment as a department to either increase class sizes, place mobile classrooms, or supply them with resources. Have you been able to keep this promise? Because I'm wondering, where does the problem arise? If you've said you're going to increase capacity, and yet you're saying part of the reason that parents are complacing is because of lack of capacity.
Well, in schools where we negotiated in good faith, and with the principals, they assured us, they then increased the capacity. But you'll remember it was in December when some of the SGB chairperson come back from holiday and say, no, this is not us, we're not going to increase capacity here. We don't want probably to have more numbers. And,
are you saying it was a sudden change of mind because you used the term those you were negotiating with in good faith?
Indeed. I mean, there are schools which would have placed more learners because of the undertaking that we have agreed with them. But now suddenly when parents go to those schools and say, yes, I'm placed here, all of a sudden they say, no, from this number to the other, we cannot accommodate because of the capacity cannot be increased. So we will continue to persuade those that they have agreed. But then in terms of supporting schools, yes, there's an undertaking from the department. We are supporting schools that they have already undertaken to increase capacity. There's more classes that they need to introduce, which, financially, there's an agreement, if one would put it that way, to actually assist.
Is there anything you can do about it? If there's an agreement in place and schools seem to be flouting that agreement, is there anything you can do as the department?
Unfortunately, we will just have to persuade, because remember, according to the Schools Act, the SGB or parents, they have power to govern the schools, because schools is there for tear, because those are the children that are there.
I want to talk about another issue that you spoke about, an increase or an influx of pupils, learners to Gauteng. What is the reason behind that?
Look, it's quality. It's quality of education. When you look at our matric results, they will be indicative that even in the township, I mean, those schools that we have launched, the new ones, we could not accommodate everyone. It's not only in the suburbs where we have a demand which we cannot really, satisfy. So the quality of education, the improvement that we also indicate, the new schools of specializations that we introduce, and the effort for us to change, the landscape. We said next week we'll be pronouncing on how the primary school fared in terms of the result, looking at the grade 1, 3, and 6. So that will give us an indication on where must we intervene, because we feel that our intervention must be at the primary level, so that when those children move up to the secondary phase already, we don't have challenges. So that's what we are doing as Gauteng. But
Okay.
people
So
get employed in
how
Gauteng.
is what you are hoping to do, the piloting of grading of schools, going to assist in the situation?
It will, because if a grading is 2, I mean, it also assists us to say, but do we really have to have that school, or we must consider shutting down? If a school is a
But
1...
does that not exacerbate the issue of capacity which you raised if you're going to shut down some of these schools?
No, I mean, MEC will tell you that if we were to, go to all the schools that people don't want, we actually have enough seats to accommodate everyone. We actually don't need new schools. But because of some of the schools are not doing well, some, it's a hearsay. I mean, there are schools in township that have improved. At some point, they were at 80%. Now they gave us 100%.
Okay.
But you'll find parents that will say, no, I don't want to take my child at that school.
Yes.
And who must then go and rectify all the things that are happening wrong at that school if, as parents, we're not willing to do that?
So the MEC said that registrations are open up until the 25th of January. But I'm curious, what does that mean for parents who perhaps will be receiving placement offers that they're not happy with?
No, look, we're going to avail schools that have capacity only on the system tomorrow when we open, and on the 24th we are closing. So immediately when you apply at the school that you would have chosen, provisionally you are placed. You're not going to waste time and say, after closing the system on the 24th, then we're still going to place.
But he spoke about midnight today, saying that if you don't accept those placement offers, then forget about it. Your child will not be in school.
No, he was referring to those that don't want to accept. Because remember, some of people that have appealed, we've given them offers. So if they don't want to accept those offers, tomorrow, when we open the system, that offer is not applicable because we're going to avail those spaces to people that want to apply.
Okay.
We anticipate about 40,000 of those that will be applying.
So let's talk about tomorrow. What is the state of readiness?
Look, we are ready. I mean, the learner material we have delivered in all our schools, furniture where we needed furniture. That's why we say this system actually is a revolution, because by October already we knew how many teachers we must then employ. We have employed, about 88% of our posts have been filled. We just have a few of those that we need to finalize. But we know that in front of a learner, there will be a teacher. In terms of your, scholar transport, we are ready. We have increased, the figure there. Our nutrition, our children will be, fed. We've got 1.5 million of our learners that we are feeding every day in our schools. And we will just make sure that they are accommodated. But we are ready. We know that 99.9% of our learners will be in the classroom tomorrow when we start with the process of teaching and learning. Grade 1 and 8, it's probably 0.8% of our learners.
All right, thank you very much. Steve Mabona is the Gauteng Education Department spokesperson. By the way, if you are a parent out there and you've not received placement, and contrary to what Mr. Mabona here has said, some of you have insisted that you applied in time, perhaps if you could just share with us evidence of what you did do, what some of the problems that you encountered are, and we'll follow up on that.